Welcome to The Authentic Life with KL, the podcast where we throw out the rule book, where we dive in head first to the real and raw, unapologetic journey of living the best life. That includes lots of music. This is your go-to space for empowerment, for deep healing and owning your authenticity like the boss that you are. We're here to break down walls and slay self-doubt. Vibe to the soundtrack of your soul. With every beat and lyric, we'll move through stories that heal and empower. You can live your fullest and most badass life. Welcome to The Authentic Life with KL. This episode of The Authentic Life with KL is brought to you by Break the Silence, a nonprofit created using music as a platform to raise awareness for mental health, suicide prevention, and recovery of all kinds, offering hope and starting the hard conversations to bring communities together. Hey guys, it's Kitty. Today I have with me Eric. I'm just going to say Eric from Shallow Side. Eric from Shallow Side. Eric. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know, which I can't believe there's not people, but just in case they don't know who you are, can you give them a little blurb about Eric and from Shallow Side?
There are millions that don't know about Shallow Side, and we need to find more millions to find out about Shallow Side, which is a band that I sing in. We started our band like any other band starts, loud, obnoxious in a garage or in a tiny little shed out back, obnoxious to the neighbors, pissing those people off, and then decided that we wouldn't continue traveling down that road. So we started going from, event centers to clubs to bars to traveling nationally now for the past decade with 11 top 40 singles, which none in the top 10 yet, but we started off in a trailer park.
That's why we need 10,000 more people.
That's right. We need 10 million more people.
10 million more people.
Yeah, to get to the space that we need. But no, we started off in a trailer park, honestly. That's where I grew up. And for us, music was just an outlet. And then it turned into a career. And so that's where that kind of started and developed into.
When things get dark for you, what inspires you? What helps you to keep moving through stuff? Life.
For me, it's, I revert right back to the same space where it all kind of like started. If I get into a mental space where I'm not comfortable and things feel too heavy, I find myself in a place searching for more and more music or creating and find myself in a creative space where I kind of just start to self indulge in time and space, and I kind of clock out from the world, and I kind of give myself the freedom of time to say that, like, yeah, okay, now no more constraints. We don't have to, live in that small bubble, and you can be safe and create in here. And I think that's where I naturally kind of like tend to roll back to.
So music is your safe space, or at least creation.
Yeah. I believe that's where it started. For me as a kid, that was the thing that I would lean on. It was a radio to the ear. Little Eric running around with some loudspeakers, just escaping. Just escaping. That's what it was. And I believe now I don't really have enough time to get into a dark space. I've lost the privilege of that. But I still daydream that if I did get time, that's where I would go. I would go there anyway.
Busy, keeping you busy. I mean, when you stay busy, it's hard to find that time. I think a lot of times our dark spaces are when we retreat to our cave and just think, and we sit in our own head. So was there a specific moment in your life where you knew, like, hey, this is what I want to do? Or was it kind of a progression from when you were little?
Um, it was essentially the path of least resistance for me. Um, I worked every job that you could imagine. I've busted tables. I've been a server. Um,
What's the worst
uh,
job you've done? I mean, what would you say that you didn't like the most?
telemarketing.
Mm.
That's horrendous. Like it's on both sides of the fence. Like for them to pay a kid to just call people to piss them off during dinner time. Ugh, it's ridiculous. Anyway, that one I just wish that that would never be a thing ever again in the world. But it's probably telemarketing was awful. I did uh well, never mind. That wasn't a job. I was thinking about something that I went to I w- I went to juvenile detention one time and had to clean up an entire hillside full of garbage. I thought that that was ridiculous. I hated that. But
Well, that was a
that
job
was
that you were forced to do.
yeah, that was it was a community service. So
You weren't paid for that.
yeah, I did not enjoy that, but the
So you
community,
stay out of trouble now because you didn't like that.
I try my best. I just really try my best.
So did you, about what age did you start doing more music?
So my grandmother, she was in the church choir. She was a choir director as well. I didn't sing in the choir. I was too young. But I was there. I was around it. I was around the piano players and loved it. As I grew up, I was also growing up in the church and music was like every weekend. And so it kind of turned into a constant. I kind of looked at it like everyone was doing that same thing.
Right.
Everyone was living that same life. Everyone was going through that. I didn't discover that not everyone can sing. Not everyone can perform. Not
Mm.
everyone knows these things. For me, it was like so second nature. And although I've never had any proper training, like a lot of it just naturally grows on me very quickly. Um, that it kind of started in that space as I grew. The world of music grew with me to performing um, at churches and such as well. And then I kind of like fell out of the idea of church altogether and found distortion guitars and friends that
Your
could
own
play.
church.
Yeah, like and that's literally what it kind of turned into. It turned into a Tuesday and Thursday every week, for 2, 3 hours. Um, just me and a couple buddies, and we was just jamming nonstop, constantly, and it that was our therapy. That was the way that, and that kind of grew into a place where it wasn't just the three of us anymore. There was 5 or 6, or there was 10 or 11, or they found out that we were jamming over here on Thursday nights, and then 15 people would show up, and then
Mm.
25 people show up, and then we started like Heath, his parents were like, listen, we can't keep bringing all these people over here, this is getting ridiculous. And so we started throwing house parties. So we're 17, 16, 17 years old throwing house parties, just so our band could play. So we're waiting for families to leave out on vacation. We're occupying their homes and throwing a house party and then playing music. And this was fun for like a month. And we're talking about like 8 parties max. And then the cops catch on. I mean, we're talking about the latter part of MySpace, the last of MySpace
Oh,
days,
gosh.
and we were posting where the address was and what was going on, and the cops were just there first. They were like, "No, we got the memo," and we were like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "You put it online," and we're like, "Y'all got MySpace?" They're, what are you talking about, stupid kid? So
So that
that
didn't last long.
they pulled us to the side and was like, "Listen, this is I see you. I see what you're doing. This is not how you do it. You got to go play at bars and clubs, and you got to get paid. You got to stop spending all this money and hustling all these people around you. You got to do it and start it legitimate. So, I kind of took the reins on that and kind of started to look outwardly, um, which turned into me lying to people about our age because we were 18 years old, 19 years old. We didn't have a band name. We didn't know what we were doing, but and then I would just call them and be like, "Yeah, no, we could play for how long do you want us to play? 3 hours? Oh, yeah, we could do that. What's our band's name? Oh, we got to be how old? Oh, okay, yeah, no, we're good, we're good. We're just put us down and we'll be there. We'll be there. So for $100, we would show up to anywhere and do our best and get ran out of places. And that's kind of the grind upward of how Shallow Side kind of and myself. Shallow Side was a project that I started, at a very young age and have it's grown just as much as I have.
Yeah,
Just
it's quite the
in this time.
journey. Yeah, it's quite the journey. What's something that you've learned about yourself over this journey? I'm sure you've learned a lot. So,
Uh, that I may have a temper, so I'll admit that.
so don't
Uh,
piss you off.
yeah. So no, no. I mean, well, no, I don't know. It's probably something that I've learned about. Uh, I don't know. Maybe I'm still discovering most of that.
And that's all right. That's what the journey is, right?
Right.
That's what the journey is. That is all good. How do you personally navigate this pressure of I've been to many of your shows and you're always on, right? You're always on. And I know people are looking to you. And I think a lot of people think musicians and they go to a concert and they don't appreciate when someone is on because it's hard to be on all the time. So
It's tough. I appreciate you saying that because
yeah,
I don't feel that way. I don't
yeah,
feel that I am on. We work extremely hard
yeah.
to stay pretty sharp on our on the gears, but there are times and days that go by that it's tough. Everything you're tired. You've been at it for 16 hours, not just that day, but it's been 5 days in a row, and you just burn out and you got nothing left, and then you kind of just turn into muscle memory. And you're
Yeah.
like, all right, that's that. I got to go here. I got to shoot it here. And then once you're in it, it just like really you morph into that character, that space, that mental space where like you're locked in with the crowd. At least for me, that's what happens. And I find myself falling in love like right there. And that is full rejuvenation right there. You don't need sleep
Yeah.
when the orgasms are popping off.
Right. Well, so so now that you said not the orgasm, but the other thing. Um, so do you have a hard time? Because I've talked to several different artists and have different friends, and they're like, no, the post tour depression or like the change once you come off of a tour is a very real thing because you do kind of get stuck into like the tour mode. Do you have a hard time with that sometimes shifting?
Um, well, I'm blessed. I have two children and a German Shepherd and a lovely wife. And so when I get home, the show just continues. It is loud, it is ruckusy. There are bar fights. There's bottles being thrown everywhere. No one likes the food. It's this it just continues. It just continues. I'm tired.
I
I'm
know. Oh my
tired.
gosh. Your kids are young, right?
They are. I have a 19-month-old and a 7-year-old.
So yes, you're You're
babies.
running. Yeah, no, you're running. It doesn't stop then ever. But it will. I will tell you, I have grandchildren and I feel like I blinked and my kids were grown. So you have to enjoy the madness.
Just it happens. Everyone said it. It happens fast. It happens fast, and
It
but
does.
not there. There is no truer statement that
Yeah.
I've ever heard.
Do your kiddos do they like music? Are they
They
interested in
do.
that?
Yeah, they've been to a handful of the concerts. They wear the ear mittens and kind of like stay a little far in the back, but they enjoy it. They have fun.
That's fun. My husband was always like, "You're gonna love guitar," and my kids don't like anything about music, and he's like, "No."
Oh
So,
yeah.
so my granddaughter, she loves guitar. She calls him Peepaw, the oldest name in history, and she says, "Peepaw, play rock star," and I sing a song that says, "Grandpa thinks he's a rock star, but he's not."
I love that.
And
That's
so
the
she'll say,
talk.
"Rock star, sing it." But the kids, I have two boys, and they really didn't. That wasn't their thing. They'll listen to music, but they just weren't into singing or playing or anything like
That's
that. So
probably because they had a good childhood.
and maybe.
There you go. Because normally that's what I've learned. At least the best musicians are weirdos. I'm just I'm just kidding.
Listen, we are the weirdos, Mister, right?
It's us, one of us.
One of us, for sure. We have so much to write about. So much, yeah. So fun. So, do you have a song? Do you have a song that you have written that means a lot more now,
That means more now than it did
or
than
may
it
mean
did.
something different?
Like for me at least, writing it down and getting it out in it kind of does naturally take on a life of its own, but it was at that time and space like something for me to release, to
Mm,
like push out, to although it is, a creative space, it's also like a lot of baggage, I guess would be a way to put it, or a lot of
kind of like a purging.
yeah, and getting rid of that. So once I've kind of said my piece with it, I tend to walk away and kind of not revisit that world anymore. But I stay in that creative space also for several years. So like we'll write the album, create the album, develop the album, and put it out, and that probably takes a 1 year to 6 month period of development and creation, if not longer. But then you're kind of in that world, continuing to develop the visual aesthetic, the aesthetics, and the video, and the art that surrounds it for years to come. And you kind of just stay in that world, or at least I have. So once I finally do kind of get past it, I've kind of like wiped my hands and be like, "Phew, we're done." We
Now
got to
I
go
love
back.
that. I always tell people to write a letter and burn it, and it out to the universe. But writing a song and then singing it, that's kind of the same thing and a
Yeah,
different,
and I've heard people say that, like, like they get those things out and then they perform those songs and they're tired of performing those songs, and
yeah.
they become like a popular song, and the performer says that they don't enjoy performing the popular song anymore. And I don't think that I really retain that feeling either, though, because once it's out of me, it does become a performance piece. And if someone is, ignited by that word cadence and, sound, then it is my duty, it is my privilege to provide that, and say, Remember when we were here together? Because now we're actually here together, and now this journey is like a mutual share, and like that's a very powerful thing, very powerful thing. So I also don't share the idea that once it's become a nuisance to you personally, that you don't bring it back out again. But we don't really like have that kind of stigma
Yeah.
either.
Yeah, I think that I I guess the gratefulness for musicians and anyone who writes music to go through the things that they do if they write from experience. Um, I can tell you, there's so many different songs that I really appreciate of yours, but Rebel is one of my favorites because my best friend's name is Rebel, and she has struggled. She has struggled pretty significantly just through finding herself. And so when her and I met each other about 4 years ago, um, I said, "Hey, have you heard this song?" Once she started kind of growing a little bit, and now it's like it's her thing. Like that's she's like, it's
It's her
about
thing
me.
song. Yeah, that's what she walks out to the wrestling ring.
Yes.
That's our song. I love that.
Yeah, so when she needs like a pump up, she's like, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's always something that's super impactful. So even songs, like that, it's so impactful for people who may hear it for the first time.
True. 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 True.
Let's talk about some of your new music. I have Resurrection first for us to talk about, and that's kind of to me like the Phoenix Rising, right? With Resurrection. Can you talk to me about
It
that song?
that song it's the last one on the album. So it is kind of it's kind of the closing space, but it's also the the revelation of the open door. So when we first started creating the album, our first album, Saints and Sinners, um, we were we were in a space of creating and developing and learning our own sound and developing what felt like our identity as musicians and as a band. And then we put that out, and it was very apparent that there's a natural Southern touch that just comes with our music. And that's not something that we even try for. It's just something that's very natural. So um, whenever we wrapped that album up, we were in the process of creating and developing those images and working towards those things. And it was working out. Everything was lovely. COVID happened, and then we went into another creative motion, which was very fortunate for us. We had ran the cycle off of that, and it was basically had ran its course, and it was time to put out the next album. And that, as we were there, um, this was the reflection of that same space. So if you look at the album, you can see the clouds in there are the same color scheme as what was in the Saints and Sinners album. So and then this guy is just staring at the mirror and looking to take a walk in. So as he's standing there in this space of unknowingness and just like kind of just outward, that's where we were creating. We were creating darker riffs, heavier melodies, more passionate, poetic lyrics that were kind of relation based for most of them. So that kind of came all full circle back to Resurrection, to where lyrically it's just wandering and then walking into the storm. And that's where you see the album kind of finish off, and where the writing process is starting, has already started for a new project, a new album that we'll be working on pretty soon.
I love that. I love that song too, just because I do teach a lot about, living authentic life and finding the best version of you and like not reliving trauma and all those things. And so that song is really impactful, I think, for anyone who's kind of going through a transformation of any sort. Really love that song. And I love the, like you said, kind of like the Southern, it's in you guys. It's just
It's
in you
a
guys.
natural touch. So that's where that song kind of picks up. It starts to really lean into, and we'll see a lot more of that world and creation off of when the new album starts to live.
The next song is No One Wins. off of
Mhm.
your newer album. Can you talk about that song?
Yeah. So, No One Wins was a song that we did with Kyle Odell in Nashville, Tennessee. And I was kind of going through a tough time in my world. I had just lost my father, and he was the dude, right, for me. And it was just very abrupt. And I didn't like grow up with family. I didn't have like a family growing up. And when he passed, it was like, dang, I'm like out here alone. There's like nothing you can do. You just gotta like keep on going regardless, right? Because I mean, you need air, you gotta have the food and the water, and then your mind just keeps going. It doesn't stop. So that's where that song really was able to take shape for me. I was able to look at the world and be like, as I guess like morbid as it sounds, or maybe like pessimistic is the wording maybe I'm looking for there. But it's just like it's such a dreary thought process to be like, no matter what you do,
Yeah.
you're gonna die. No matter what.
Yeah. No, it's
No matter what you do, you could be the best or the worst. You could be right in the middle, and in a few hundred years, you're not going to matter. And
I, I've thought about that. I think about that sometimes, and
yeah,
it's very
and
true.
that's that like, 40,000 foot view, that 100,000 foot view where now you're just away from Earth and you look back and you're like, None of us matter. Really, it's the moments that we care about.
Yeah.
They they don't really matter, but if you just keep searching, you'll find the stuff. And the stuff is those moments. And that's really where that song kind of revolves from.
Yeah. No, it's true. And then on the other end, it can also, as you said, it sounds kind of morbid, like in the end, nobody win what nobody's gonna win. But um it can make you step back and look at things differently. And when you feel like something is so tragic and you just can't go on, like in the grand scheme of things, it's very small.
Yeah.
It's our world maybe, but it's very small. And there's so many other people that are going through the same thing. And it will not matter in as much in a year, 10 years, 20 years as you go on as well.
Right. So true. That's where that song came from. That's how we wrote that one. It's a little dark. It's a
Yeah.
little morbid. But it really has a happy feeling to it.
It's contradictory, but that's okay. That's the I think everybody needs songs like that, right? We need all the emotion songs. We can't just write all happy songs because life is not all happy.
Right. So
I
true.
mean, if it is, you're on heavy meds. It's not all.
Passing this way. Passing this way.
That's right. You're on something because it's not always that. But I think songs like that make people again feel like they're not alone, which is the whole purpose of why I do what I do is because there is beauty within darkness as well. All right, so we do what I'm going to call a lightning round. I just have some fun questions for you, and then
All right.
we'll wrap up.
All right.
Okay, you don't know these questions, but they're not bad questions. They'll be fun. All
Okay.
right, big stage or small venue?
Big stage. I like to move a lot.
Acoustic set or full set?
Mm. Full set, big stage. Acoustic set, small venue.
Night owl or early riser?
Night owl, without a thought.
Favorite animal?
An owl
No,
or
that's
my
makes
German
sense.
Shepherd. Not dogs, just
Just
mine.
your German Shepherd.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The last song you blasted loud in your car.
Oh, Juicy Wiggle.
Juicy Wiggle.
You know about that? Juicy Wiggle. Let's go.
Most, well, most unexpected artist on your playlist.
Red Foo, baby. Red Foo with the big afro. Ah, girl, look at that body. Ah,
So funny, so funny. Um, what is one word your bandmates would use to describe you?
one word,
Well,
two syllables, asshole. Probably. If I had my guess, the truth is I am lovely. I'm a wonderful person.
you're a lovely, not asshole.
Yeah, I'm lovely. Yeah, that's how they would describe me. Lovely.
If music didn't exist, what would you be doing?
Dead or in jail. I came close to
A lot
both
of
of them
community
already.
service.
Yeah, I came close to both of them already, so I'm just holding on to music.
You just look real good in an orange jumpsuit.
I'm orange already. I disappear. I look like Gumby standing over there, the orange version.
Who would you like to collab with?
Uh, I, there's a handful of artists I'd love to do songs with. When I'm writing, I think about a lot of artists that would like, oh, we could put them on this track. That would be really good.
Do you have like a dream one that you'd love to collab with?
I'd love to do a song with Diamante or Taylor Momsen. I think those two ladies would be right up
Yeah,
right up my alley. Be sick songwriting for
yeah.
that one. Sean Down would be a gnarly one. I would like to probably do a song with Breaking Ben. That would be pretty
Mm.
sick. Um, I don't know that the list goes on. We did one with Elias for Non-Point. That was pretty rad. It was a good. That was a good. That was our first collab. So
Nice.
welcoming more. Maybe even Hardy. That would be pretty cool.
Oh, that'd be good. That's a good fit too. Yeah, absolutely.
Adelita's Way would be another one. That'd be really good.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could just keep naming. We're just running off these people.
Everybody, listen, listen,
Yeah,
listen.
but I'm fans of these people.
Yeah,
I love their music.
yeah. All great, and all would be absolutely amazing. What's your favorite curse word?
Hmm. Shit.
She. You got to say it just
Shit.
like that though.
Yeah.
She.
Shit.
What is the first concert you went to?
It was my first proper concert that I went to was in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Shinedown was headlining. Direct support was Saving Abel
Mm.
with the original lineup, and opening the show was 10 years. And we were in Chattanooga. 10 years is from Knoxville, so it was kind of like their home space, but also I think Brent is from Knoxville or from that side. Anyway, it was kind of like a local. It was a home thing, but they were in the arena over there, and those were the three bands that were on the bill. We were living in North Alabama at the time. I think the year was freaking 2006 or seven or I don't even know. Anyway, um, the concert we got there and I had the day of literally split my hand open with a box knife and had to get it stitched up. So I traded my general admission tickets for like seats and was sitting in the balcony. The lights go off and this silhouette of this girl with a guitar walks out on stage and starts singing, I'm in love with somebody. And it's just like echoes throughout the room. And like, and I'm like looking at the ticket. I'm like, what the hell is happening? And Hailstorm opens the show, just blasts through the whole arena. The place fell in love. 10 years plays. Jesse Hassick is a freaking animal. He's a beast. Save and Abel plays, love those dudes, and then Shinedown performs, and I had just an absolute religious experience.
Love
And
that.
that was the moment where I was like, I'm guys, hear me out. We're going, we're
I
going
got an
home,
idea.
we're gonna start a band. And that was like that was kind of like the pinnacle of the thought process of like what am I supposed to be doing? And then we go there and I was like, this is something that I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing it, but
I'm doing it.
I really like this a lot.
I'm doing this. I'm doing this. Well, that was fun. What message do you hope people walk away with whenever they listen to your music or they leave one of your shows?
Um,
That they want to come back? I hope they leave the
they
message.
that they want to buy a t-shirt. No, I'm
That's a
just kidding.
fact. No, that's a
I think
fact.
I think if successfully people leave our concerts and are happy, more joyous, uh, and with a mindset that they can achieve.
Yeah.
I think that that's ultimately the prize for everyone involved. The growth of a community is my favorite thing, and I think that if I can accomplish that, then I'll feel like I've done the service that was put here to do.
Yeah, that's great. The communities within music are a huge thing for me. I followed otherwise due to my brother passing and met them and then met all these other people. And then you guys I've come to see because I met Jody and,
Right.
Jody.
Yeah.
And so the communities that are within the music is the gift, but then you have all this extra stuff that you get with it. Where can people find your music? Where can they find you and support you guys?
Find everything at shallowside.net, or you can Google Shallow Side and you could find it there. Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, X, Triple X, Pornhub, wherever you're at on the internet, we're probably there too.
Go find his OnlyFans. Remember, he said he did everything that you could think of.
All of them.
All
All
of
of
it.
them.
What do you guys have coming up?
We are embarking on a tour tomorrow with Rehab. And then we will be announcing another tour in September very, very soon.
Looking forward to that. All right. Well, I always end the podcast with the question that if someone were to come to you and they were struggling with mental health or life and they just weren't happy with where they were at, what is some words of wisdom you would give them?
Listen, I'm not the one guy. I'm not, don't be asking me shit like that, okay? I don't have it figured out, okay? You're making me nervous. And I'm about to give you some bad advice. So please, for the love of God, whatever you hear from me, don't take it seriously.
You're like, I'm gonna here, call Kitty. Call
But, but,
Kitty.
but then I'll be like, but first, let's call Kitty.
I love
I,
it.
I, you know, I think, and this is just not me knowing, but I think that if you're just there, you've won. If you're just there, I've said this several times about raising children as well, and I'm not saying I'm not comparing that mental problems is like raising children, but it kind of is. You've got to baby these things sometimes, and sometimes you got to be mean, and sometimes you got to be brute. But if you're there, if you're just there, you can do a really shitty job and still be really good at it. As long as you show up. As long as you show up. All you gotta do is show up. So if you just keep showing up, ultimately you're gonna die.
That's not a lie.
But you can have some really good moments along the way. So you gotta keep your head up.
No one wins.
No one wins. We gonna make it out of here
Call
alive.
Kitty, guys. Call Kitty. I love it. Well, it
Therapist
is
you need.
it's the truest statement though. Just show up.
Just
Just
show
show
up.
up. Like so many people do not want to show up. And if you want things to change, you gotta show up or they're not gonna change.
Showing up will give you a C+ grade.
That's right.
It'll give you a C, but you won't fail. You just gotta keep showing up. You won't fail. You just gotta keep showing up.
And C plus is sometimes C minus. That worked for me sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, hey, listen, I live my life by that. And you know the education runs thin when you see C- average student at a public school in Alabama. You know, it's rough.
Alabama.
It's rough down there. They
It's so
stopped
fun.
teaching. They stopped teaching English at like third grade. They just give up. They don't. They're like, we don't know either.
That's why he does all the jobs and all the land.
You got to do them all.
Oh, I appreciate you coming on so much, and I look forward to seeing you on tour. So,
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
of course, of course.
This episode of The Authentic Life with KL is brought to you by Break the Silence, a nonprofit created using music as a platform to raise awareness for mental health, suicide prevention, and recovery of all kinds, offering hope and starting the hard conversations to bring communities together.